Last night's forecast called for a 100% chance of rage and spittle because Trump held a rally down there, and while he was up there, he introduced a unique way to pronounce that state.
We have added 70,000 new construction jobs in just a short period of time, including 8,000 brand new construction jobs.
Something genuinely strange unfolded on late-night television, and it involved a comedian laughing so hard that the punchline effectively wrote itself. When Stephen Colbert began unpacking a fresh batch of claims from Donald Trump, the audience expected satire. What they did not expect was Colbert nearly losing control as the situation itself became the joke. So
it hasn't worked, and it hasn't worked really for a long time, and I would say pretty much from the beginning. Colbert has no talent. I mean, I could take anybody here, I could go outside on the beautiful streets and pick up a couple of people that do just as well or better.
Before we go further, if you're enjoying this breakdown, subscribing to the channel helps more than you might think. The strange thing about modern politics is that sometimes the sharpest comedian in the room isn't the one holding the microphone. Sometimes the real punchline is sitting on a social media platform, typing with complete confidence, convinced the world is witnessing a masterclass in strategy, while everyone else quietly realizes they're watching the setup for the...
It is day 12 of Trump's not a war with Iran, and all attention is on one of the world's most important shipping lanes, the Strait of Hormuz, which brings us to the latest edition of Hormuz News.
That realization arrived once again when Trump's digital megaphone fired off another round of declarations. Somewhere in a brightly lit studio, Stephen Colbert experienced that rare moment when a comedian no longer needs to write a punchline, because the punchline has already volunteered for the
thing. Now, for days, Trump has been simultaneously saying that we've won the war in Iran and also that it has to keep going. He continued that mixed message last night. Still there, big dog. It's so weird to say we won in the very first hour and then still be there 13 days later.
The situation quickly became the comedic equivalent of watching someone slip on a banana peel while insisting they personally invented gravity. Colbert has spent years refining his late-night routine around political absurdity. But there are nights when the material simply arrives fully assembled.
Nervous GOP that despite the recent spike in the price of oil, his war is no biggie.
We took a little excursion because we felt we had to do that to get rid of some evil. And I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion.
Yes, just a little excursion, little short-term excursion.
When Trump begins releasing lengthy explanations, grand declarations, and heroic self-portraits that sound as if they were drafted by a committee made entirely of mirrors, a comedian's job changes. It becomes less about crafting jokes and more about calmly pointing at the situation and letting reality do the heavy lifting. Trump's communication style has always felt like a proclamation delivered to a crowd that's already halfway through a comedy roast. That theatrical approach has created a strange ecosystem where political messaging collides with entertainment, and late-night television sits right in the middle, waiting patiently with popcorn. Colbert has mastered the art of letting these moments breathe. Nothing ruins a great joke faster than trying too hard when the material is already sprinting toward you in clown shoes. The moment those latest statements surfaced, the late-night machinery began humming. One can imagine the writing team staring at the screen with the stunned expression of someone watching a magician reveal every trick before the show.
This week, we learned the sobering fact that as many as 150 Americans have been wounded so far in this war, and Trump reassured the crowd of the gravity he brought to the difficult decision to take our country to war.
Epic fury! Is that a...
Trump's digital declarations tend to follow a familiar rhythm. They open with the confidence of a man narrating his own historical documentary. They move quickly into a list of grievances that spans political institutions, media organizations, and occasionally the laws of physics. Then they land at a destination where victory is declared, regardless of what actually occurred. This formula has produced an endless buffet for comedians. What made this particular moment stand out was how the logic twisted itself into something so self-contained that it practically generated new headlines on its own. It's a remarkable political talent, like throwing a boomerang that comes back carrying 3 additional boomerangs. For Colbert, this is the sweet spot where politics and theater intersect. His show thrives on translating chaotic political drama into digestible satire, and Trump's communication style offers enough raw material.
Trump is scrambling to minimize the political damage, posting earlier this week, short-term oil prices, which will drop rapidly when the destruction of the Iran nuclear threat is a very small price to pay for USA and world safety and peace.
The laughter hit especially hard that night, not just because of what was said, but because of the confidence behind it. There is something uniquely comedic about watching a narrative insist on its own brilliance while collapsing under the weight of its contradictions. Colbert carefully guided the audience through the details, explaining how Trump's own words accidentally constructed the comedic framework of the segment. Each explanation triggered fresh waves of laughter as the logic folded back on itself, like a paper airplane attempting advanced aerobatics. Everything was described as historic, tremendous, or catastrophic, sometimes all at once. That constant escalation transforms ordinary political commentary into something closer to performance art. Colbert understands that instinctively, late-night comedy relies on timing and exaggeration. The difference is that comedians know they're performing, while politicians often appear convinced they're delivering flawless logic to an audience that can't stop.
Was this 10? Day 10 of the Iran war, and we're not any closer to finding out what the goal is. Is it regime change? Is it ending a nuclear program? Is it changing the name to Donald Trump's Iran-a-lago?
As the segment continued, viewers witnessed the rare sight of a host genuinely struggling to maintain the rhythm of the show because the situation had crossed from clever satire into outright absurdity. Colbert tried to regain composure while summarizing the revelations, but each attempt only made the narrative more ridiculous. Every new detail carried the unmistakable energy of someone desperately explaining why a perfectly ordinary situation somehow required 3 dramatic plot twists and a declaration of victory. This is the strange magic of Trump's communication style. The intent is always dominance and control, but the result often resembles a theatrical monologue delivered in the middle of a comedy club. Trump's influence on late-night television cannot be overstated. His presidency reshaped political comedy, turning nightly monologues into real-time analysis of an...
Trump doubled down on his peace message yesterday at a press conference at his Doral Golf Club. A reporter asked him about the apparent inconsistency in his administration's messages.
You've said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared?
Well, I think you could say it both.
So it's over, but somehow still go.
Colbert became one of the central figures in that transformation, guiding audiences through the chaos with sarcasm and disbelief that mirrored public reaction. This segment pushed that dynamic to another level. The material wasn't merely controversial, it was genuinely confusing in a way that made the host laugh at the sheer audacity of the logic. Colbert broke the narrative down piece by piece, highlighting how each attempt at clarification only created more questions. The audience quickly realized they were watching one of those rare moments when a host becomes an audience member inside his own show, reacting with the same disbelief everyone else feels. The laughter cascaded, turning a political story into a comedic highlight. What made it work was Colbert's restraint. He allowed the absurdity to breathe, treating the statements like a puzzle and letting the contradictions reveal themselves.
Ohio today to sort of sell his war. And while he was there touring a factory, Fox News' Peter Doocy asked this.
You just said it is a little excursion, and you said it is a war. So which one is it?
Well, it's both. It's both. It's an excursion that will keep us out of a war, and the war.
Each clarification sparked another ripple of laughter because the pattern was unmistakable. Trump's narrative insisted everything made perfect sense. Yet every new detail introduced another layer of confusion that sounded like it belonged in a surreal sketch. By the time Colbert reached the end of the explanation, the effort itself became entertaining. His reaction wasn't the controlled chuckle of a rehearsed joke. It was spontaneous laughter, the kind that comes from realizing the story you're explaining has accidentally become the funniest part of the show. Trump's digital declarations had effectively performed the monologue before the monologue even began. That is the paradox of modern political spectacle. A politician tries to dominate the narrative, and a late-night host turns it into a master.
I say war because it sure looks like a war, and Trump keeps calling it a war, but Congress never declared it a war, and MAGA was promised no new wars. So the White House sent out a list of talking points to all the congressional Republicans.
Colbert eventually regained enough composure to finish the segment, but the laughter lingered. The audience knew they had witnessed one of those moments where satire is almost unnecessary. Reality had already delivered the punchline. Somewhere in the vast political media ecosystem, the cycle continued. Trump's communication style all but guarantees another round of declarations will arrive, packed with the same confidence and unpredictable logic. That means comedians like Colbert will keep doing what they do best, observing the spectacle, translating it into satire, and occasionally breaking into uncontrollable laughter when the story becomes too absurd to ignore. In the strange theater of modern politics, the most powerful comedic weapon isn't a perfectly written joke. It's simply
The price of oil isn't the only thing Trump doesn't seem to give a damn about, because on Thursday, Trump was asked if Americans needed to worry about Iran retaliating on U.S. soil, and he said, I guess. You guess? I guess isn't what you're supposed to say about a terrorist attack. It's what you say when someone asks, do you want to order the buffalo cauliflower?
Moments like this reveal something fascinating about the relationship between politics and entertainment today. A politician attempts to control the narrative with absolute confidence. Yet the structure of the message unintentionally hands comedians the perfect blueprint for comedy. By the time the statements reached Colbert's desk, what began as a routine political breakdown had transformed into something far stranger, a guided tour through a narrative so convinced of its own logic that it seemed completely unaware of how chaotic it sounded from the outside. Colbert approached the situation with the patience of someone explaining a magic trick that revealed itself halfway through the performance. Each layer of the story tried to prove a point, yet somehow managed to complicate the narrative even further.
Trump insisted everything's fine, saying, we have unlimited of the middle and upper middle ammunition and things. Oh yeah, I buy all my weaponry from ammunition and things. It's way more affordable than bombs, Bath and Beyond. It's unclear how long the war will continue, because this weekend, Trump said the war will only stop after Iran's unconditional surrender, to which Iran replied, that's a dream America should take to their grave. Okay, that's spooky. And metal as hell. Is there any more to that statement?